Chapter 6. Unkillable Monster, Impossible Quest. Was that a spell? Aubrey asks. No-hoo, Augustus hoots. That was let's go in Arabic. Show off. My choice of habitation happens to be a British wood, Augustus says with dignity. It does not mean I'm stuck in the mud. They are walking through the wood. Aubrey has on his dressing gown and slippers. Augustus sits on his shoulder. Because Augustus is able to see their path between the stumps and roots 100 times more clearly than Aubrey can, the owl directs the boy left or right. Augustus, you won't fly off and leave me, will you? You would be discomfited to find yourself all alone in the great wood in the middle of the night, in total darkness, in dressing gown and slippers, when no one knows you are out here and you are unsure of the way back. I could find my way back, Aubrey whispers. The darkness and the presence of the great trees make him want to whisper. Good lad, Augustus replies, and Aubrey can hear an owlish smile in the words as they form in his head. Don't worry, you are safe in this wood, as you are in your own bed, more or less. I like them more, Aubrey mutters. He knows the leaves have turned to all the colours of a slow fire. He can smell a lot of them, but most have not yet fallen, so under the canopy the night is deeply dark. Occasionally he glimpses the crescent moon high up. He can only make out the vaguest outlines of the individual trees. They seem to stand all around him like the legs of huge beasts. Turn right up here, Augustus tells him. We follow this path to the top. Do you know where you are? Roughly. There's a clearing at the top of this bank between an oak tree, an ash tree and a beech tree. It's a meeting place. Are we meeting someone? You were thinking about wisdom, I believe? Yes, Aubrey puffs as he stumbles up the path. It is quite steep. And here you are, Augustus, wisely riding on my shoulder, hitching a lift home, saving yourself the effort of walking or flying. Oh, Augustus says, I'm just a messenger, really. The wise one is waiting at the top. Who's that? She is Athena Noctua, whom I believe you were hoping to meet. The goddess Athena. She's come all the way from Greece. Not the woman, Augustus laughs. Athena Noctua, the owl. An owl like you? Aubrey makes sure he doesn't sound disappointed. Augustus is a very fine owl, after all. An owl, Augustus confirms, but not like me. I am a tawny owl, Strix aluco. One does not wish to be immodest, but the plain fact is, in the lottery of life, I am extremely fortunate. But Athena Noctua, she is another order of fowl altogether, companion of Pallas Athena herself. It's not so much a question of respect as due reverence. Right, phew, blows Aubrey, as the steep path tops the bank and the trees drop back, and there is the clearing, soft and dim as a dream within a dream within a dream in the moonlight. I will leave you here, Augustus says softly. Don't worry, Athena will look after you. Before Aubrey can say anything, there is a single beat of silent wings, and Augustus vanishes into the dark. Aubrey stands alone on the edge of the clearing. When an owl says it's not going to leave you, Aubrey thinks, or did he actually say that? Welcome, says a voice, which seems to come from below his right knee. Aubrey jumps like a rabbit. Athena Noctua is perched on an anthill. The anthill is 2 feet high. Athena Noctua is not much taller than a coffee mug. She really is a tiny owl, but her bright yellow eyes are huge. Do sit. Her voice is snappy and quick, but not unfriendly. Don't worry, the ants are all asleep. You won't be stung. We're not all asleep, pipes a tiny voice from the hill quite distinctly. Some of us are trying to sleep. Athena Noctua laughs. Aubrey sits. I'm dreaming, the boy thinks, but it's a good one. So, you are Aubrey Rambunctious Wolf. I'm who? It's your wild name. It's how we think of you, and your father is in the grip of the terrible Yoot, and you want to help. The terrible what? The Yoot. Think of it as a monster which can't be killed. Aubrey feels fear, something like his father's hairy worm, small but definitely there, stirring in his stomach. Can't be killed, he repeats. In every myth and legend, every story he has ever read, the monster can always be killed somehow. Athena Noctua stares hard at him. You can fight the Yoot, she says. You can run away from the Yoot. You can try hiding from the Yoot. You can negotiate with the Yoot. People have been known to befriend it too, but you cannot kill it. Why is it picking on my dad? Your father is unlucky. He's not alone. The Yoot picks on most people, but some people, about 1 person in every 10, are more vulnerable than others. The majority are women, and it's getting to more people every year, more children too. Aubrey now feels very angry. Whoever or whatever this thing is, someone needs to stand up to it. How can I beat this Yoot, he demands. Athena Noctua hops closer to Aubrey. The bird's huge yellow eyes glare up at his and do not blink. Meeting her gaze is like staring into swirls of antique power. These dark pupils in their blazing irises have watched the shaping and changing of the world. The boy is almost hypnotized. Don't blink, he tells himself, not knowing quite why. Suddenly, the owl's pupils dilate, the black holes widening, and Athena Noctua smiles. Footnote: an owl's smile is felt, not seen. The birds smile by sending out a warm pulse of friendship. It's difficult to explain, but impossible to mistake when you feel it. The next time you hear an owl, send it a mental message of friendship, and I guarantee you'll get one back. No owl ever fails to respond. Understand this, she says. You are undertaking a quest with only one certainty. You cannot simply succeed. The Yoot will be there at the end. You may help your father, but you might not. You may put yourself in great danger. There is every chance that forgetting the Yoot and me and Augustus and going back to your normal life will have exactly the same result. Your father will get better slowly, or he will stay the same, or he will get worse. Tell me you understand. I understand, says Aubrey, but he thinks, this Yoot is not going to get away as easily as that. Athena Noctua continues. The best thing might be for the doctors to give him some pills to help put the Yoot out of his mind. Your assistance, however determined and rambunctious, may not be what he needs. Aubrey thinks for a moment, then he leans forward too, so that his nose is only a few centimetres from Athena's beak. Athena, Aubrey says, very clearly, tell me where I can find this thing which goes around terrorising 1 person in 10 and picks on women and children, and which is getting stronger every year, and which is attacking my father every day and every night. I'm going to give it a battle it will never forget. By the time I've finished, this Yoot is going to be begging me for its head. Athena Noctua's eyes blaze gold, and she cries, Kiwik! I knew it, she laughs. This is exactly what Perseus said when I warned him about the Medusa. So, you don't just go charging off at the Yoot. Practice and preparation first. What, like those bits in films where the hero goes running and does press-ups? Aubrey says, disappointed. Really? Not you, Athena snaps, your father. To have any chance against the Yoot, we'll need to build Jim up. Your mother is quite right, of course. He needs sleep, food, especially oily fish, rest, exercise, practical work like gardening, and lots of positive thinking. But he's been resting and eating, and it's not working, Aubrey objects. He's getting worse. Just because it hasn't worked yet does not mean it won't, Athena says gently. And besides, you haven't had our help before. Whose help? We, the creatures, Athena Noctua says simply. How quickly you humans forget where you come from and who your best friends are. Have you ever seen people and animals working together? Aubrey thinks. Sheepdogs? Exactly, says Athena. In this case, Jim is the sheep.